Today we're going to talk about the ever-changing and growing garden. So stay tuned. The ever-changing garden, this is a perfect example. We had a tree here that was 50 years old and it shaded the patio. It was beautiful. And I had all hostas and things in here. Well, the tree was so rotted it had to be taken down. Okay, we took it down, then you couldn't sit on the patio. So we had to have a pergola with a sail put on it so we could enjoy the patio. We're very happy. But this then changed from a shade garden to a full sun garden. So I have potted things and I've planted cleome. The wonderful thing about cleome, it sends out these spikes. They dry and they just throw the seeds out. It looks like this every year without any work at all. That's a good thing. Now over here, we get morning shade, but afternoon sun. So the hostas had to come out of here, and I put dwarf sunflowers in this year. Next year, I'll probably put blue salvia in. The pots are angel wing begonias. I do the same thing every year. I put 4 angel wing begonias in, and they look great. And they look great until a week after Labor Day or whatever. This year, it is rain, rain, rain. It's a gardener's dream. It's also a wonderful year for weeds, so it's a bad weeding year, but it's a great plant year. The only thing you have to worry about this year with a lot of rain is plants drowning. And I'm looking at this pot over here, and I can see there's standing water in it. So if you'll excuse me, I'm going to dump that out. And that tells me that that pot is not draining properly, but I'm not going to dig those plants out at this point and start over again. I'll just have to keep doing that. These are mountain gem boxwoods. They're hardy and healthy, not the English boxwoods. I was watching a garden video about gardens in Italy, and if you're going to garden, watch everything you can watch. You're going to learn. And I saw how in England, how they planted them right up against the driveways and walkways, and I liked the look, so I put them in. It takes about 4 years to get to this height and look this good, 4 or 5 years. What I didn't think about were people are going to pull it in their cars and they're going to leave their car running while they're sitting in the air conditioning talking on their phone. And what happens is the exhaust burns the hedge. Now, I will trim these out. It will grow back in eventually, but I have told everybody I know, turn your car off when you come in. So it's all those little things you don't think about when you're putting things in that you kind of figure out with time. This was a very sunny garden, and we had problem. The sun sets this way. It goes into the kitchen windows. It's a wall of glass. So we decided to put these trees up to block some of that sunlight late afternoon. The trees grew up and now it's a shade garden. That's fine, but everything has to be changed around. So now it's become a hosta garden. However, even in a shade garden, you may have a spot or two that's full sun. So I put a hydrangea in, and I've put some pumpkin plants in there. But this side is and there's a little sun in the afternoon out here, so I put a daylily in. And then from there back, I'm putting hostas in. So eventually this will mostly be hostas in the middle, some boxwoods out this way. And so it's evolved over 28 years. And basically your whole garden does. And there's a time when you have to take a tree down, and then it becomes a sunny garden and not a hosta garden. So it's totally changing all the time and ever growing. Okay, we talked about this bird bath in the last video. I had to level it, so I put a slate under it, and that works. I found this frog in another bed. It was a gift to us from my wife's friend Jackie. Jackie, if you're watching this, I hope you are. She had bought a cabin up in the Adirondacks and had two of these and gave them to us, and I plopped them in there, and I am very happy with Froggy, and it just adds something more. More is good. There's two ways to go with hostas, and either are interesting. You can find a hosta you really like. I love the big bluish green. And you can do a whole bed in one hosta, and it gives you a real look like a normal forest. You know, when you see the ferns in a forest, you can do one hosta, or you can do 3s, 5s, and 7s of different. So I have lime green, yellow, variegated, all different types. It's amazing how many varieties of hostas there are. So this bed is going to be all a variety, a smattering, if you will. I like that, of hostas. When we bought the property, this was a cornfield, and there was nothing. Now the road is right out there. We do not get a lot of traffic. We're out in agriculture, but we do get cars once in a while, and they're very fast. So I put a fence up because we had a child and dogs. So then I wanted to plant trees and back plant the fence. And these beds, I wanted big shrubs and ornamental Japanese maple. Here comes a car, you can hear it now. So this has definitely become a shady area because of the trees and the shrubs. So I've planted hydrangeas, anemones, and hostas. These are the big blue hostas that I love so much. They need to be divided next year. So that'll be a good opportunity to dig them up, divide them in 2s and 3s, and move them down across the front here. This is a hardy fig that is for the New England and colder states. Now, I probably will not get a fig on it. It was such a cold week last winter that I thought it was dead. It died right back to the ground, but it came back. I was amazed. So yeah, I've got the foliage I like, and this is a sunny area. So I put a beautiful daylily in. I've been buying different daylilies and putting them in different places. I will probably plant 2 or 3 more over there and 2 or 3 here. Different, matching, but different than this. So your eye kind of stops and goes again. I had 4 emerald green arborvitaes in every quadrant, and they're 14 plus feet, 20 feet tall. They were beautiful for years, but as anybody knows, arborvitae, they start to lead. You have to trim them tight. All the blackbirds started nesting in them. A big snowstorm came, one fell down. Finally, I made the decision they had to go. And I planted the front of the circle in boxwoods, and I planted behind them in a slow-growing holly. Well, this quadrant, I lost 2 of them or 3 of them. And I thought, well, instead of going out and buying holly again, I'm going to do something different. And I put in a lime-colored smoke tree. They're really bushes. And I'm going to let it take this area. And so this area is going to be limelight hydrangea. And then we have this lime, a cedar shrub back here, and this lime, and then into the dark green. So You know, when something dies, before you run out and buy the same thing and put it back in, it might be an opportunity to do something different. So that's what I did here. Now behind me is a peach tree. I planted them. First of all, they told me, I bought them, they were this big. They were labeled nectarines. They're peaches. I put one in each corner in the vegetable garden. They're in the wrong place. So I'm waiting for the peaches to come in. They're a late variety, and I'm going to take them down. I've decided I don't like them where they're at, and I'll buy another couple of peach trees next year and put them out on the lawn, and I have another peach tree. So sometimes you just have to say, I made a mistake, I don't like it, and it comes out. The ever-changing garden. This is a buddleia, otherwise known as a butterfly bush. Talk about the ever-growing garden. They're beautiful, and they have all new varieties and colors. I have one that's like a rose in another bed. When these flowers dry, they turn into seeds. You have to be out here clipping them, because if you don't, they're going to blow all over the place, and you're going to have more than one butterfly bush. So in the early spring, you cut it down to about 1.5 feet, and it rebounds, and it's beautiful. But like I said, you have to deadhead this thing, or you're going to have a lot of butterfly bushes. Okay, when you talk to gardeners who've been gardening forever, they're always talking about crowding out the weeds. Daylilies are wonderful, and we've talked about this before. They'll grow in almost any soil. They're hardy as heck. They bring out flowers in June and July, mostly July, and they're called daylilies because they bloom for one day and then they fall off, and the next one will bloom. They crowd out the weeds, they spread. You can dig them up every 3 years and divide them and move them around, and it saves on mulching because they take over. And it saves on weeding, and it gives you color. How can you beat that? So these are my new love affair are daylilies, and I'm constantly bringing a new variety. I'll be out and I'll see one. I'll say, oh, I like that, and I'll put it in somewhere. And like I said, 3-4 years, depending on the variety, you have 4 more plants. Now I had 2 beautiful blue hollies. I think they were blue star. They were huge. They've been here forever. And they were just crowding this area out, and it looked too crowded. And my daughter, who has a really good eye, said, Dad, why don't you take them out? And I thought about it, and I thought, you know, she's right. So we took those out. We had to be dug out next, sawed them down. And this peach tree was in the wrong place. Now this peach tree is in the right place, and we love these peaches. They're really delicious. My wife cans a lot. This tree, we were not happy with the peaches on it. Sprayed every 11 days, took really good care of it. They just never were large. They're always small peaches, no matter if you thinned them or not. So I made the decision. My wife said, take it down. So I did. Now what I'm going to do is paint this white, and I'm looking for little metal birds to put on it. Why not? So I'm thinking about doing that. And then this area now is open to sun, and guess what? I think this is going to get more daylilies. I think this is going to be a daylily area. So I have some really beautiful peach-colored lilies that I think will go nice with the yellow. And then I'm planting back here large tiger lilies, orange, the tall, very tall variety. So I'm going to put a clump of those in, and the peach in the front. So another opportunity. So it's always evolving as your garden gets older as time goes on, you decide, hey, I'm going to take the iris out, put sedum in, or take the sedum out and put iris in, whatever. Your passions within the garden change towards different flowers and plants. You get excited about something or you get bored with something, and it's a more expensive route. If you want to have a garden that never changes, shrubs are a good way to go. They just need to be clipped. Boxwoods, you know, viburnum, all different kinds of shrubs that flower, and keep them tightly trimmed. If that's the look you want, and you want a lot of stone work and stone pathways and things, that helps to keep things easier. This is a tree-formed hydrangea. These are nice to put in like a row of 5 or 7 in a garden and then plant in front of them. Just an idea. Well, our time has come to an end, and I wanted to say thank you, friends and family, for tuning in. Don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button, and have a blessed day.